Hi, everybody. It's Anita Krishna here with you. It is April 29th. I don't know how everyone is feeling. I'm feeling like I'm in a little bit of a twilight zone because yesterday, did I kind of expect this? I think I kind of expected this, but to see it actually happen was not a hell of a lot of fun. Let's take a look.
Of you is that anybody from anywhere could achieve anything, that through hard work, you could get a great life, you could have a nice, affordable home on a safe street. My purpose in politics is and will continue to be to restore that promise. And we did all of this in a very difficult environment. That said, we are cognizant of the fact that we didn't quite get over the finish line yet. Canadians have opted for a razor-thin minority government, a virtual tie in the vote count. So I would like to congratulate Prime Minister Carney on leading this minority government. It's with profound gratitude that I stand before you today at the moment of this historic election.
Couldn't believe that I was quite seeing that. And I'm sure a lot of you, I was not alone in that feeling, because even on Twitter, people were like, is Pierre conceding? Is this actually happening? So to break this down a little bit, I'm going to bring in Ontario podcaster Dan Freeman. He's going to join me now. And you're on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast. We're going to talk a little bit about how we're feeling. Dan, how did you feel last night when you were watching all of this?
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, thanks so much for having me on, Anita. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, it was just kind of sad and heartbreaking a little bit. It's I think we knew this was an outcome that was possible, but I think it was so disappointing. We all know that the ballot had two options: hope and fear. And we voted for hope. Some people elected to vote for fear, and it's just kind of heartbreaking that we didn't get our way. But like I've been saying all day to people as I've dropped videos, we got to keep fighting. We've been punched in the face, and every great fighter, if you want to be a great fighter, you have to learn how to take a punch. So we got to take the punch, take the loss, and come back stronger.
I think so. I feel that way, but I do have some questions. I mean, this gives us, all of us podcasters who fight and who stand up for freedom, now the job is still on. I mean, it's still on because we're going to have a lot to hold the government to account to and a lot to report. But at the same time, I didn't want to see this. I don't want my reporting to be all antagonistic reporting. I want to see good things start to happen. So I was kind of hoping for good things. Now, I'm on the West Coast, like I said. I voted late. And so the polls closed on my time at 7 o'clock. I cast my vote it was 6:20 when I cast my vote. Okay. So then the polls closed. Not but 10 minutes later, they called it.
Yeah.
So today I was at work, and one of the patients said to me, he's like, did our votes even count? And, when you question elections, certain platforms don't like you to question elections. But do you feel that all the votes they couldn't have been counted? They're still counting. Tuesday morning, they were still counting.
Yeah, I mean, that was just basically just projections. It was about 10 after 10 here Eastern time when they called it. And I was streaming, and I'm like, wait a minute, they've already called it? That's strange. I know that they were ahead early in a lot of ridings. But that being said, I thought they called it a little too quickly. And then as we see, we're approaching 11:30 my time. You see, I think there was a point where it was within 2 seats. So it looked like Pierre was coming back, but then Carney started to separate himself again. And we got the results we have. I know people are going to ask questions. I think that's fair. I think people should be careful a little bit not to make overabundant statements about this. The feeling is still raw. If you see something suspicious and want to ask questions or think that there should be questions asked, I feel very strongly that you should be able to ask those questions, and they should be answered.
I think so too. I think anything that they say that you can't ask questions about are the very things that you should be asking questions about. Because there's a lot of things in life that they'll just shush you right away. Jabs, Lots of things, residential schools, certain events that have happened in World War II. You cannot ask the question. So I think that anything that you can't ask the question about is the very thing. And I've tried to Google around, just had a cursory look. All the 7 million votes that were cast early, did they all get combined in the Election Canada count? Do we have a good final count? I'm not sure I have a clear answer on that. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they've counted. I guess there's still about 70 polls that they have to count still. But everyone has declared it a minority. It doesn't look like any ridings will flip, although they were thinking earlier today that might be possible. It looks like it is just going to be a minority, which is, I don't want to call it a win, but it's certainly something that we avoided disaster, right? A majority would be a disaster. The NDP, they lost official party status. They can't really help that much. So at least we can hold them more accountable. And I honestly think that we're going to be heading back to the polls within 2 years.
Yeah, we can talk more about that too. But like the NDP, that Jagmeet had to step down as the leader. I mean, he lost his seat, and they will look for a new leader. And what if the NDP forms a coalition with the Liberals again, and they'll have a majority?
So yeah, that's a little bit where I'm confused as well, because they don't have official party status now, which
I've
means
heard that too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if that means, because they can still vote with the Liberals at times, but I don't know how often. I don't know if they're there for every vote. I don't believe they're getting funded. I think the NDP has much bigger problems than worrying about keeping the Conservatives out of government. They got to reestablish themselves, and if they're smart, they're going to pick a leader who basically does the opposite of what Jagmeet Singh did. So I'm not too worried about it, but it's still a little bit. You never know with the NDP, right?
You never know what's going to happen. Now, I was asking you earlier what you thought. What are some of the things that bugged you? And you did mention a bit of Doug Ford. So let's have a look at this.
You know, something as for Corey, I've said right from day one, he's tough as nails, but he's the best campaign manager in the country. And to be very frank, if Corey was running that campaign, I don't think Mr. Poilievre would be in the position he's in right now. But it's still a lot of time left. We still have debates. At the end of the day, the people will decide which way they want this country to move forward. But sometimes the truth hurts. You know, something as for
sometimes the truth hurts, he says. What about that? Doug Ford didn't really help things. What is your take on Doug Ford's?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, the truth always hurts, as he says. Okay, well, here's the truth, Doug. You're a fake conservative. You're a liberal in conservative clothing. You wear blue, but deep down you're red. What kind of conservative doesn't endorse the leader of the Conservative Party? In my opinion, Doug Ford likes Carney better. Like I said, he's a liberal sheep, and I think he wants to be the leader of the Conservative Party. And I got bad news for you, Doug. It ain't ever going to happen.
I mean, Ford is having coffee and breakfast in cafes with Carney. I didn't see him doing that with Pierre.
No, it was just so ridiculous. But then again, like the only reason he wins so bad or so big here in Ontario is because he's pretty liberal. He's not a conservative by any stretch of the imagination. He's a fool, and I think he's going to be out soon. So hopefully, and if he does run for the conservative leadership race, if they have one, I hope he gets demolished.
Yeah. Although he just got reelected, somebody likes him. Somebody out there likes him. Yeah.
It's in a lot of his voters are the same people who vote for Justin Trudeau or Mark Carney, believe it or not. It's weird.
And Ford also did a terrible job with Trump. I mean, whether we're cutting off your electricity. No, you're not.
It's like, first of all, that's illegal. And like, really, we want to start doing things that Trump could consider an act of war. Yeah. We don't want to be getting into any kind of war, whether it's physical or trade war with the United States. To think otherwise it's just crazy. It's arrogance. It's just people who don't know what they're talking about. You don't want to go into a war with the most powerful economic country in the history of the world. Why?
No, you don't. Especially when you're Canada, when our GDP is about the same as Mississippi, the state of Mississippi, or something like that. Now, one thing I want to just talk about Carney's speech. I don't have a clip of it, but he last night he was saying, yeah, well, it's not the same with the U.S. We're going to stand up to the U.S. It's not going to be, he almost was like tearing up the friendship economically and in terms of camaraderie, I thought, in his speech. Did you think so
Yeah,
too?
yeah, I think so. And I think his goal is to kind of lead us over to either the European Union or China. But that being said, this whole tough guy talk with Trump, I think he's going to fold pretty quickly and move on from it. There's no point of keeping this going. The election's over. Carney knew it was helping him, and that's why he didn't try to negotiate with Trump early on back in March. He knew this was helping him, and he was going to let Canadians suffer until he won. So
He should have talked to Trump well earlier. If all the people believed, oh, Carney's the only one that can handle Trump, no, he's not. That is utterly ridiculous to think that. And Carney actually, he's so elite. He has a lot of protection around him. He's got friends in high places. He doesn't have to be the world's best negotiator with Trump. So, I mean, it's better to have someone that is literally on the side of the people. And one thing that I find kind of annoying is that, do you really think in your heart of hearts, in your brain of brains, that Carney left his millions, put everything in a blind asset, did everything because he loves Canada so much and wants to save Canada? There's another force behind why he's running that wasn't communicated to the masses, I feel.
yep,
What
and
do you
that
think?
is you'll have nothing and be happy. I mean, there's a clear plan to get rid of the middle class. They want us to be controlled by the government, and therefore they can't. If you decide to not follow through with what they want, they can, cut off social services, a universal basic income program, whatever that might be in the future. They want you under complete control, surveillance. They want to censor what you say. If they could, they'd censor what you think too. So,
Yeah,
they want us all poor and they want us all sick, because if you're poor and you're sick and you're weak, you can't fight back.
that's right. That's right. And oh gosh, we're going to have so much work to do. We don't want this digital prison. No, thank you. I'm not into this.
Hmm.
Yeah. And uh the which takes us back to, why do you think this happened? If democracy was upheld last night and people did cast their votes and ballots, and this is all on the up and up, why do you think we saw the numbers that we did?
The left was united. We saw what happened with the Green Party, for example. They canceled 100 candidates across the country just to basically have them vote for the Liberal. Jagmeet Singh basically tanked his whole party. It was giving the Liberals votes. He didn't really even do anything to try to stop it.
Yeah.
And the bloc lost some ground. It was Carney versus Pierre Poilievre. And when you're in a very liberal country like this, and the left unites, kind of like a little bit what we saw in France, they could overcome us. However, even though this happened, they only still won the popular vote by about 2 points.
Yeah.
So even as united as they are, we're still close. We're making progress. And I don't know if you saw like they did like an election with like school children, and they
Mhm.
actually voted conservative of about 900,000 people. So the younger generations are conservative. By the next election, we'll have a new wave of 18, 19-year-olds, and hopefully we get higher turnout, because that was also disappointing as well.
You think how much can you blame the boomers? Not all boomers,
Yeah.
but because I met a lot of boomers as I was out and about, and I saw a lot of comments, and I've talked to a lot of people, not all the boomers, but there was a great percentage of boomers that they're liberals till they tried and true.
Yeah, that generation is definitely very liberal. That being said, there is a big difference between liberal boomers and conservative boomers. Most of my followers are actually boomers, so I always try to make that distinction very
Yeah.
clear, because I'm not insulting my own viewers, of course. But yes, there's a lot of older, specifically women, who are just very, very liberal. And the moment the tariffs were involved, that it was a chance to go after Trump, and they just believe that Carney would be the best guy to do it for some reason. They listen to mainstream media a lot, and they also have the highest turnout, where we didn't get as many young guys and girls as out there as possible. So they show up to vote. Not every young person did, so that's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
That's unfortunate. And just one more thing, just to wrap this up. Pierre's riding of Carleton. How can you make any sense of that? That Bruce Fanjoy won?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the demographics of that riding too, oh, first of all, there was 91 people on his ballot. I don't know if you heard about that.
What
It
was
was
that about?
you had to fold it like 3 times. It was crazy just to get it in the box. It was But then again, the NDP, they usually get around 10 or 12% of votes in that riding. They got 1.4%. So they just united together and got Pierre out. And, I know people are suspicious. I don't know that it's because having that many people on your ballot, of course, there's a clear, like a, they're trying to mess with people, right? But
Yeah.
it's not technically illegal what they did, so there's not going to be any punishment for doing that, and hopefully, Elections Canada changes that rule.
Yeah, that was utterly ridiculous. I
Yeah.
don't think that had ever been done before. Having all those candidates in a riding, like it was 91, right? Something like that.
Yeah, it was just it was like a one of those scrolls you see that
Yeah,
you hang it up here and it falls to the floor. It was ridiculous. It shouldn't have been allowed to happen. That being said, when the left really unites, which is something that doesn't happen that often, usually the NDP gets some support, usually the Bloc gets more support, but most of them just kind of abandoned their party, and it was just Carney versus Pierre Poilievre. And I mean, he got 41% of the vote. That's more than any other conservative since 1988. We gained ridings. We kept the Liberals from a majority. So there are good things, but Pierre losing his riding is unfortunate. Now he's going to have to go find another riding and ask someone else to step aside for him.
Yeah, I think so. So now people are feeling very melancholy because we just kind of don't understand how this could even actually happen. Do we have any uplifting words? Do you have any uplifting comments for anyone watching?
Yeah, it's something I've been saying, all day today. Today's rough, right? I had this weird, like, nervous, sick feeling in my stomach. I really thought this was going to go differently, but we got punched in the face. Great fighters, great champions. If you want to be able to win, you got to be able to take a punch. So my message to people is don't give up. Take the punch, take a few days, heal up, take the loss, and come back even stronger. We have a lot more work to do, but we're going in the right direction. We just got to make sure that next time we finish the job.
Very good. Yeah, I can't say anything more than that. Well said. Well said. Hey, thanks so much. So where can people catch you on? You're on YouTube?
Yeah, I'm on YouTube at the if you search the Dan Freeman Show, you'll find me. And yeah, again, thank you for that. I really, really appreciate you having on. It was nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too. You had me on. So everybody go check out my interview on Dan's podcast and vice versa. Yeah, nice to talk to you. I'm sure we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.